Right, guys. So the beach is gone. We're back to rabbits and what's my jiggers? Trees and water and shit. You know how it is. The beach is gone for yet another year. So I'm just gonna dump all of this crap in the bank. Whatever. We're just gonna go and cut total porter. We're just gonna go and cut willows for an hour. I'm not gonna lie, guys, this is not gonna be the best stream ever. I'm quite unwell. I wouldn't say it's a bit early, but it's early for Monday, but this is about the stream that about the time I'd like to stream, you know? Notebooks, welcome, welcome. How you doing? How's things? How's life? Tell me all about it. Rip. Benji, welcome, welcome. So Benji is aware of my situation, but I know you were not, Notebook. So, I've got a semi-emergency with my health. I've been told that I need to go to hospital. Yeah, it is what it is. I've been told I need to go to hospital. So you may ask, why the fuck are you streaming? And that's because I need something to like calm my mind for an hour before I head out to the hospital for what will probably be a 12 to 14 hour wait. Hospitals make me really anxious. And honestly, right, I have been fucked over all morning. It's really annoying, right? Because my actual doctor, as in the person, the human being, is an amazing doctor, right? My actual flesh and blood GP is amazing at what he does. But the practice that he works at is a fucking shit show. On Friday morning and afternoon appointments, they ran out of appointments within 5 minutes of them opening. Today, on morning 8 AM, I rang. I got through at 8:07, and they had no appointments available. They said the next lot of appointments open at 1 o'clock. So I rang. I got through at 13:03. 3 minutes after the appointment slots open, and there was no appointments left. So I think either they're fucking us over, or they're just so oversubscribed. They've taken on so many patients that they just can't handle the caseload, which either way is worrying, right? Like, realistically, Benji knows what's going on. I've asked Benji not to share it. I'm not going to share the details, but what I'm going through at the moment is borderline emergency. Right? I'm talking with my hands, and you can't see me, but that's fine. According to, because I rang, because in Britain, we have 2 emergency service numbers. Well, actually, we have more than 2. But we've got the emergency service 999, and then we've got like for the police you've got 101, and for the NHS, the health service, we've got 111. So I rang those guys, and they was like, ring your GP, tell them that we've told you you have to be seen today, otherwise you're gonna have to go to hospital. So I ring them. 3 minutes past 1, the appointment slots open at 1, for them to tell me there are no appointment slots available. Try to ring back in the morning. And I'm like, listen, you told me that on Friday. It's now Monday. This issue has been persisting over the weekend. It's an issue what should not be persisting. You know, like it's a you could end up dead kind of situation if it persists too long. I'm trying to be very vague on purpose, because it is very sensitive in nature. But it's not insignificant, right? Like it is at the moment. It's not too bad. Sorry, 1 second. Honestly, Red, there is so much to tell you, and I can't bother typing it. To not go into details, I'm trying to think of how I can like boil this down as much as possible. I am losing noticeable volumes of blood from my body. And this has been sustained over a prolonged period of time. That's about... yeah. That ain't normal. That is not in any way normal. You think that's a sufficient description? I was on call with Benji for like an hour, waiting for me to try to be able to call my GP to get an appointment, an emergency appointment, mind you, and they had no appointment. Within 3 minutes of them opening them, I am fucking livid. I don't usually got here at the wrong time. No, it's fine, Ruins, it's fine. Welcome, welcome. This is gonna be a short stream because I am gonna have to pack up my shit and get to hospital, and then I'm gonna be fucking sat in hospital for like 8 hours or 12 hours or 14 hours or God knows how many hours to get seen by something that realistically my GP should be doing. They asked me, could I walk to the walk-in center, right? The walk-in center, I was wrong, Benji, when I told you. The walk-in center is 27 miles away. And they asked, because I said I don't drive at the moment, and you know, public transport is on strike where I live, so public transport is no bueno. So they asked me, could I walk to the walk-in center, which is in the next town over, 27 miles away. And I'm like, listen, I can barely walk 500 miles. 500 meters, sorry. I can barely walk 500 meters. How the fuck am I meant to walk that? So, I'm going to stream for like an hour. And then get packed up, go to hospital. I will be available to message, theoretically, whilst at the hospital. Generally, you get mediocre internet, though. And at the 3/4 mark. We'll just see how it goes. The length of this stream is basically I'm waiting for somebody to message me to tell me they're free to take me to the hospital, right? So like this stream might end up being half an hour, it might end up being an hour, but I'm waiting on a message from somebody who's gonna drive me up to the hospital. So when I get that message, I'll be in the stream. We don't even have a 2G network in Britain anymore, Benji. Red, that is literally the worst role you can manage. Yeah, the bot can sense the way I'm feeling. The bot is like, Spec is pissed off, nobody wins. That's what's happening. You know, just like, fuck the clouds, the sky is racist kind of deal. Well, notebooks, apparently you are the calm within the storm. You know? It's just, right, I understand that medical services in most places don't get enough funding, and we have basically a global shortage of doctors, you know? Like, it's not just a case of... It's not just a case of, It's not just a case of, like, Britain is short of doctors. Like, there is a doctor and nurse shortage everywhere. Right? That's the truth. I get it. But if you are managing to fill up all of your appointment spaces within 7 minutes of opening, either you have way too many patients or nowhere near enough appointments, right? Like, at the end of the day, I'm like talking with my hands still, but you can't see me. But at the end of the day, it's a balancing act, you know? You have a certain amount of service that you can provide. You know? You have a set amount of appointment space. Your service is limited. You have a product. You have a product that is in limited supply. So you don't... So you go, right, theoretically... And the thing is... The stupid thing is, it's so... These things are pretty easy to model. Right? If you're if you're modeling a single random person and like the amount of times they're going to need to go to the doctors or get prescriptions, whatever, that's very difficult. But if you've got a group of 1,000 people that's relatively representative of the area, you can pretty well model, you know, how many appointments per year each person needs on average. And you can get pretty damn close. Right? Like, this has been proven to be a fact. They do it on, you know, a military basis and stuff like that all the time. So you can model this stuff. So why are they not just going, we've got this many patients, we can't take on any more patients because this many patients on average will require, you know, say 80 appointments a day. And we have 80 appointments a day available. If we take on more patients, we can't service all of the patients that we have. You know, dentists do it. I never have an issue getting an appointment with my dentist. Opticians do it. Like, I get it. There is a shortage of doctors. Right? I get it. I understand. But how is sending people who should be seen by a GP to A&E going to help anything? Because all you're doing is you're knocking on the work to another department that then is overworked. So that knocks on to the next department because you're taking up a bed in the hospital. So that knocks on to like needing life-saving treatment for somebody. You know, like, I am not... Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not going to pretend that I have all of the answers and I can fix this problem. I am not going to pretend such a thing. Right? Because honestly, this is going to become more of a problem. Our population is aging. Less people are becoming educated to be doctors and nurses. Because the truth is, the pay is shit compared to the workload. That's the truth. Like, people go, well, doctors are paid like 45, 50 or 60 grand a year. And I'm like, yeah, but most doctors work 6 or 7 days a week. You know, my personal GP works at the GP surgery 5 days a week. And then part of his contract, he is mandated to work at the local hospital. 1 12-hour shift between Saturday and Sunday, which means he is working 7 days a week. That just huge rat. You don't worry about it. Huge rats are a thing in Runescape. You know, right? That's my doctor. It was really strange for me because the last time I was in A&E, my doctor walked in and it was my doctor, and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing here?" He's like, "Yeah, I work here on weekends." I'm like, why? because you have to, because there's not enough doctors. And I'm like, fair enough. But I don't know what the fix would be. I feel like there is a lot of situations that people make a GP appointment that could be seen by somebody else. And I think having a better way of signposting those people to the correct service would be a good start. I think a lot of times paramedics can do a lot of diagnosing of basic situations, right? That's what they're trained for, to assess. Like, they're not trained for treatment, fair enough. apart from emergency treatment, but they're trained to assess, right? So you could have, 3 paramedics to every doctor who assess people of like low priority and go, yeah, this person's got eczema, this person's got asthma, this person's got contact dermatitis, this person I don't know, you need to see them, this person, probably has strained a muscle or whatever. Like, theoretically you could do that. It's paramedics don't mind the pay that they get for the amount of training, because you can train to be a paramedic in like 2 years rather than like 8 years to be a doctor. So yeah, you're not paid great, but like if you're not running all over the place, if you was in an office, like I imagine that would be a pretty sought after job. So that's one way you could do it. There are so many people who go to the doctor who need, a quick fix for something. Pulled muscle, like migraines. Like, they can ask you some questions. How long you been having migraines? How bad are they? How long do they last? Alright, I'll send this to the doctor. Doctor reviews them, very quickly writes a script. Done. Sorted. There you go. Now, the doctor can do that in a couple of minutes, whereas the paramedic may need 10 minutes to assess the patient. So if you had like 2 or 3 paramedics per doctor, you could very easily get through a lot of things. And a lot of situations, a doctor wouldn't have to be involved, because the paramedic can go, look, that's an ant bite. That looks fine. It's a bee sting. It's just some contact dermatitis. Use a gentler soap. Maybe get yourself some moisturizer. That kind of deal. Like, lots of people go to doctors because, GG Red, we don't understand our own bodies. Right? That's the truth. Us as human beings, we do not understand our own bodies. We kind of get, oh, that hurts, or that looks different, but we don't look at something that looks different and think, that is this. We look at that and go, that looks bad, I should see a doctor. Which is fine, nothing wrong with that. But, if you've got some kind of rash or something, a paramedic will be able to tell you in most situations. No, exactly. A paramedic will be able to see you in most situations like, that's infected, you need to see a doctor. That's not infected, you need to do this. It's like they're trying to do a push for people to go to the local pharmacy for these type of things. But the problem is because you don't make an appointment, and because it's not at a doctor's surgery, people feel like you're not getting a good service. I've been to my local pharmacist, like, I've been to my local pharmacist. I had a strange rash on my chest, and I went to him and I just went, look at this, what did it look like? And he's like, yeah, you've had a reaction to something there, and it clicked in my brain that I used a new aftershave, and obviously that aftershave didn't agree with me. Now I could have took up a 10-minute slot of a doctor's time with that, and many people would have done. They look at it, they got this new bright red rash, they think, shit, it must be something serious, it's just suddenly come on, let's go and talk to the doctor. And then you take up you take up doctor's time for summer. You take up doctor's time for something that a pharmacist or a nurse could have done. And we need, as a society, to start seriously thinking about how we do that. And unfortunately, people are idiots. That's the truth. I'm sorry to say it, guys. Me, you in chat, we're all fucking idiots. That's the truth. At least when it comes to like medical stuff. Because unless you are a trained nurse, doctor, or paramedic, which I don't believe any of you are, We don't know what the fuck's going on. So we see something that's wrong, something that's different, and something in our brain just starts to panic. Even if you're not a hypochondriac, something in your brain just like, you know, it just, your brain instantly goes, I need to see a doctor. And I think we need to get out of that mindset. Like, in my situation, I need to see a doctor. And do you know how I need to see a doctor? I've been told to go to A&E. So I know I need to see a doctor because I've been told if you can't see a doctor, go to hospital by a medical professional. Well, why is my phone not on silent? One moment, guys. Ring and notification volume 0. Thank you. Yeah, that's my opinion on it. Is half of the problem is with like distribution. Like, we need to start looking better at where doctors are, you know, and we need to start thinking about can other people do certain jobs, you know, like, because we are asking more and more and more of GPs all the time. As people are getting older, GPs are dealing with more complex cases that take more time. You know, like, realistically, I'm going to tone down the in-game music for this. Realistically, like, I shouldn't have been discharged from the mental health team. Because my meds are numerous, complicated, and there are a lot of interactions between my meds. They were exactly wrong, exactly. Sometimes people just need to man up, or woman up, or non-binary up, I don't fucking know, but you know what I mean. Sometimes people just need to like put on a brave face and fucking get on with it. That's the truth. But the other problem is strong up. I like that. You need to strong up. The truth is, like, we are asking more and more of our GPs. And the truth is, GPs are buckling under the pressure. You know, something that you would have gone to a therapist for if you were in America, you go to your GP for. Something you would have gone to a podiatrist for in America, you go to your GP for. Something you would have gone to see, you know, like a community nurse, you go and see your GP for. We just ask too much of our GPs. There's just not enough of them. So the question is, what can we do as a society to change that? And the answer is we've got to change the mental attitude of people. Right? We've got to get people. No, but what I'm talking about is in America, you don't waste an appointment with your family doctor a lot of the time. Like, if you've got an issue with your feet, you ring up and you make an appointment with your podiatrist or your dermatologist or whatever, right? Like, you just made that appointment. You say, I've got a skin issue, I need to see a dermatologist. And yeah, you wait longer, but you're not taking up a GP's time. Red, everybody's mind is fucked in some way or another. I don't know. I think there's gonna have to be, something's gotta change. We can't continue on the path that we are. That's the truth. How is what going, Clue Girl? What is it? How is what going? No. No, I'm not okay. I have something wrong. I mean, Benji has a good point. But I get what Clue Girl is saying, because I could, like, need to go to the hospital for mental health reasons or whatever. The easiest way that I'm describing it, without going into too much detail, because it is a personal situation, I have been losing noticeable amounts of blood from my body over a prolonged period of time. That's how I'm describing it on Twitch. I don't want to go into any more detail than that, but not like self-inflicted, like this is spontaneously started happening. I've been trying to see the doctor for, since I think it was last Thursday and Friday, and then over the weekend tried to see the doctor, and then today, and now I rang the emergency services, and they have advised me to go to hospital because of what's happening. So yeah, that's it. It's not good. I'm sure I'll be fine. Somehow I always manage to make it through. There is a kid screaming outside. Like, man up, the kid's falling off his tiny bike and crying. Like, do you know how I learned to ride a bike? Have I ever told this story on stream? Have I ever told? I've got somebody who'll take me, they've just got to, I've got someone who'll take me, I've just got to wait for them to finish doing what they're doing. They just got home from work, so they're eating right now. I mean, it sounded kind of like a death metal album with the noises they were making. I thought they'd like broke the leg or something. Looks like they scraped the knee. I've never... Right, so basically, right, the way how I was taught to ride a bike was I was took to the top of a steep hill with a helmet on, fair enough, put on a bike, and my dad pushed me. And we just kept doing that until I learned to ride a bike. That's how I learned. I learned pretty quickly. But that's how I learned to ride a bike. And to be fair, I was very, very proficient on a bike until my disability took hold. So it worked, right? Me and both of my brothers knew and continue to know how to ride a bike. And that's how all of us was taught. Find a good steep hill, shove the kid, hope it works out. No, exactly. Like, sometimes you fall and scrape yourself, or you cut yourself accidentally, or you get a bump on the head or whatever, and like us as like, we are mechanical things, right? We are machines. And the amazing thing about the machines, the meat bags that we are, is we fix ourselves. Unless you do some ridiculously serious amount of damage, we are pretty good at fixing ourselves over time. Right? Like, at least in most situations. Like, when you start traveling at, curve speeds, when you start doing like 30, 40, 50 miles an hour or more, then you start getting to a point where the body wasn't not designed, because you know what I mean, right? The body didn't evolve to deal with collisions at like sorry, the body didn't evolve to deal with collisions at like 20 or 30 or 70 miles an hour. Like, that's just we didn't evolve for that because we didn't need to. So, like, when you start getting to that kind of speed of, impacts and things, then you start looking at doing serious damage. But, like, cycling as a child, lazily cycling along or tripping up or whatever, like, yeah, it's shit, but it happens. Oh, no. The thing is, Benji, the body will never evolve like that for one reason. Is we have so many safety mechanisms in place. Like, theoretically, if you didn't have all the safety mechanisms in place and everybody got hit by cars, everybody with weaker, brittler bones would break them. And if we didn't, take them to a hospital, they would die off. And then the ones that were left would be the people that had thicker, stronger, bigger bones, right? Using your bone structure as a thing. So they would breed, and their offspring would be more likely, exactly Red, the offspring would be more likely to have bigger, thicker, more dense bones. And if you continued the cycle, everybody got hit by a car, the ones with the best like physical structure, and it's not just bone structure, I'm just using bone structure as an example here, but there's a lot more to impacts than bone structure, I'm aware of this. The ones that survive that would be the best of the already best genetics, and they would go on to breed, and they would create even more people with denser bones, whatever. I know, I'm just using bones as an example. But you're saying you can't see that happening, but Darwinian theory says it could. It wouldn't happen very quickly, but like, there's the birds on the islands, isn't there? That like sparked Darwinian's theory of evolution. Well, like, the same bird ended up in 3 different islands, and those birds developed very specific ways of consuming the food that was found on the specific islands, even though they all came from like the same few birds originally. I can't remember the exact thing because it's been a long time since I learned that in school. But Darwinian's theory of evolution, like, obviously there is a limit to what the human body can naturally do. It's the same with like weightlifting, on powerlifting and bodybuilding. Like, there is at some point there is a limit to what the human body can do. And when it comes to like sprinting, scientifically, we are getting pretty close to that limit. Like, the world records that have been set, you know, in the past decade or so, are getting pretty close to about the limit of what the human body can do without ripping itself apart. So unless there is a noticeable change, in physiology, like, we're not going to be doing much better than we've seen. Yeah, exactly, Benji. Honestly, Ruins, you were giving very mixed signals, though. Fair enough. Do I think the human body could evolve to take like 70-mile-an-hour impacts? Probably not. But do I think they could evolve without medical intervention, you know, natural selection, into something that could deal with like 20-mile-an-hour impacts better? Sure. But I don't think we would ever evolve to a point where you could just shrug off an impact. I think it's still gonna hurt. But like, natural survival rates, I think, could be a lot higher if, you know, some natural selection happened. I'm glad that natural selection didn't happen, because if it did, I would not be here. Like, the amount of health, you know, physical and mental health problems I've got, like, I would not exist if natural selection was in full force. I'll put my hands up. I'm glad about this. You know? Like, I'm a cripple. I'm mentally unstable. You know? Like, so I'm very, very glad that we support those that are weaker in society, because I am, I'm keeping an eye on it, Red. I told you, I will either leave at the 1 hour mark or when I get the message for my lift to the hospital. Right? The longest I'm streaming today is 1 hour. It might be less. I might get a message in 30 seconds and I'll be like, right guys, I've got to go. I'm not gonna lie, like, when I get that message, I'm not dicking about. I'm going and getting in the waiting queue for the hospital. You know? But if I don't get the message, I'm still gonna end at 1 hour, so I can be ready to just, on the drop of a hat, go. If that makes sense. So the longest I'm gonna stream today is 1 hour. But I'm keeping an eye on my phone. The reason I'm not even keeping an eye on my phone, I'm waiting for a Facebook message, and the reason that I've not got my second, you know, Runescape client up here is because Facebook is where that Runescape client would be. So, like, it's not even a case of my phone's on silent so I could miss it. It's staring me in the face. He's staring me in the face. When I get that message, I'll be like, right guys, I've really got to go, and say a quick outro, and then off I go. Get changed, go to hospital, have fun, be prodded and poked yet again. Which is fun, right? I used to be really scared of needles and that kind of thing. And then I've been prodded and poked that much that I'm not gonna say like that I'm used to it. It still bothers me, but like I don't freak out over it anymore because it has happened so much. You know, it has been something that has happened to me so many times at this point with all of my health conditions that I'm just like, yay, more jabbing. Obviously, the sarcastic yay. Oh, guys, the typing. This might be it. Wait, they stopped typing. Are you ready yet? I don't want to like message them and I don't want to message them and make it them feel like I'm trying to rush them, you know? Because like they're doing me a favor at the end of the day. They're saving me having to like take up an ambulance or not like an emergency ambulance, like a PTS, a patient transport services ambulance, which is just a fancy taxi really run by the NHS. I'm just trying to do my bit to not, you know, take up as too many resources. Oh, the typing again. Come on. You can do it. I am wired right now, guys. The amount of caffeine I consumed is concerning. I'm not gonna lie. And yes, guys, it is go time. So we're gonna raid Daniel, okay? We're gonna very quickly raid Daniel, guys. Thank you for hanging out. Has Daniel still got verified only chat? Then we're gonna raid Chev, cause I ain't fucking dealing with verified only chat. Please stick around for the raid, guys. Thank you all for hanging out. Have a good day, night, morning, afternoon, or evening, whether you watch this live as a VOD or possibly on YouTube. Guys, please say hello to Chev for me. I'm going to be in Chev's chat for like 30 seconds or so, and then I'm going to go. So please stick around if you can. But most importantly, just stay healthy, guys.